Okay. This is a video I decided to make at the last possible minute. I wasn't even going to make a video today, but I will. A few people, my friend, a gun nut 80, he was talking about Jared Loughner, the sick motherfucker from Tucson that shot up all those fucking poor people. In case you have not heard, Jared Loughner was recently deemed incompetent to stand trial. In other words, he is legally insane. Okay, now, on a personal basis, I wanted to see Loughner answer for his crime. That's not professional, that's personal. That's me. Me the person, not me the academic scholar, not me the great YouTube maker. Me as a person, I wanted Loughner to answer for his crimes. I didn't want him to be lynched in the street. I wanted him to face justice. I wanted him to have his defense attorney, and I wanted him to stand trial in court. I believe in the law, and that's what I wanted to see. And he was indicted by the federal government on some very serious charges of murder, attempted murder, attempting to murder a government official, a congresswoman. And I have all these books here, and I have them here for a specific reason. Some people are saying, how could the jury deem Loughner sane or insane or competent or incompetent? How could the jury allow this to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you right now how the jury allowed it to happen. The jury wasn't there. It is estimated that 93% of people that are arrested for any crime, whether it's shoplifting or mass murder, 93% of people arrested will plead guilty and waive their right to a trial. And I've been in the courtrooms. I did my internship for the courts. I've seen it. They're there. 93%. Could be 95, could be 90. It's and we need plea deals in this country. There are not enough courtrooms, judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and juries in this world to handle the criminal justice system. Now, what a plea deal is very, very simple. The defendant pleads guilty in exchange for something. Compromise. The compromise is, I promise to plead guilty. That means less taxpayer money spent on trial, less hours the prosecutor spends looking at one case, because the prosecutor has a case this high. Prosecutors have files on their desk this high to go through. Rape, murder, shoplifting, arson, larceny, credit card fraud. They have stacks of papers to go through. Okay? And the defendant says, listen, I'll save the taxpayers anywhere from $100 to $10 million. Some trials cost $10, $20 million. I'll save the judge, who has another pile this high of cases to go through. I will save everyone this time. I will waive all my constitutional rights and plead guilty. No right to a trial, no right to a jury, no right to present evidence. I'm guilty now. And in exchange, you get a lighter sentence. If you're facing death, you get life without parole. If you're facing 10 years in prison, you get 5 years in prison. If you're facing 1 year in county jail, you get 6 months in county jail. That's the deal. Less punishment, less taxpayer money wasted on trial. The other 7% go on. Now, some of that 7%, the charges are dismissed for lack of evidence, which happens a lot. The judge knows they did it, but there's no evidence, so the judge has to dismiss them. Unfortunately, the judge don't like it either. And then there's a whole bunch of guys that say, you know what, I want to go on trial. I'm not guilty, I want to go on trial, but I want the judge to try me. Judge decides guilty or not guilty. Judge decides sentencing. Judge decides everything. It's all on his shoulders. It's called bench trial. And then there's the last aspect, jury trial. If you go to county jail and you see 100 guys lined up, and every single one of these 100 guys is facing charges, one of those guys will see a jury. One. That's about it. 1% of people see a jury. So Loughner did not face a jury. Now, guilty, not guilty. If you're not guilty, then you have to go to trial and defense attorney and witnesses and evidence against you and all of the bullshit you see on court TV. There's a third alternative. You can plead insanity. Now, I have on my psychology books. This is general psychology. This is general psychology. This is social psychology. And this is abnormal psychology. This I had to take in community college. These two I took at university. I had to have psychology electives. These are my law books. Criminal law I had to take at community college. Constitutional law I had to take at university. And criminal law, again, it was a different criminal law class I had to take at the university. This book's in the center for a reason. It's called Introduction to Forensic Psychology. It's in the center for a reason. Psychology books. This is psychology, this is law, this is hybrid. Okay, what is forensic psychology? Forensics means apply it to the law. Forensic science, the scientist takes scientific experiments and uses scientific experiments as evidence in court. This is cocaine. That DNA said he's the rapist. That fingerprint was on the window. He applies scientific principles to the law. Forensic odontology. When they find the skull in the woods, the teeth, they send the teeth to a dentist, and the dentist compares the teeth to files of missing people. The dentist says this skull is a 21-year-old. And they look at all the missing dental records, all the dental records for missing 21-year-olds, and the dentist says, compared to these dental records, this is that missing person. Adam Walsh, God rest his soul, was identified by that dental records. That's called forensic odontology. Forensic psychology. Judges don't know a lot about psychology. So when a judge has a problem that involves analysis, he has a psychologist on his staff to look at the problem. And Dr. Phil did this, believe it or not, for a time. Forensic psychologists will look at cases when they need, like if two people are getting divorced. The judge will call the forensic psychologist, and the forensic psychologist will say, Your Honor, they're normal people, give them joint custody. Or you know what, Your Honor, father's a full-blown alcoholic, mother is a paranoid schizophrenic who suffers from delusions, grandparents are normal, give the kids to the grandparents. Or you have a kid who's on trial, he's a juvenile, who's on juvenile trial in the juvenile court, he did something very violent. The psychologist will say he has this problem, that problem, and that problem, he deserves probation, or he deserves detention in juvenile hall, or he deserves this and that. The psychologist gives the judge insight to mental conditions. There's also a psychiatrist. Now, a psychologist has a minimum of a master's degree, possibly a PhD in psychology. A psychiatrist has a PhD in psychology and a medical degree. He went to two doctorates. Psychiatrists can prescribe medication. They can treat you for mental illness. And because they went to medical school, they can treat you for physical illness. You can go to a psychiatrist and get a prescription for medicine because you have a cold. If the psychiatrist can't find people that need mental health counseling, the psychiatrist can legally put on a white jacket and open up a medical practice because he's a medical doctor. Now, someone pleads insanity. Now, in every psychological textbook that's published, you will find nowhere on any of their pages the word insanity. Because insanity is not a psychological term. Insanity is a legal term. It's in all of these books. Insanity, in layman's terms, means that the person on trial did not know what they were doing was wrong. Okay? Ted Bundy, the only reason why Ted Bundy wasn't a lawyer was because he was out killing people. He was a law student. He had more college education than most of my professors. Ted Bundy raped and murdered, and even had sex with dead bodies. And he got a thrill out of it. Ted Bundy knew what he was doing was wrong. He just didn't give a shit. He knew it was wrong, morally and legally, to kill and rape, but he did it because it was wrong. And because it was wrong, it was so much fun for him. You ever see a kid go to the amusement park and ride all the roller coasters? And some adults go all over the country to ride the roller coasters? They like riding roller coasters. Serial killers like killing people. They know it's wrong, they just don't give a shit. The Amityville Horror. Not the stupid movies with the ghosts and goblins, the actual Amityville Horror. was a man, 23 years old, named Robert DeFeo Jr., also known as Butch DeFeo. Butch DeFeo told 10,000 stories. The story people agree on is that he killed his mother, father, and his 4 younger siblings. And he said the mob did it. He said his sister helped him do it. He said his sister killed the kids, and he killed the parents, and he killed his sister in self-defense, blah, 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 blah. Robert DeFeo Jr. attempted to plead insanity. And the judge, I watched a documentary on it, and Robert DeFeo Jr. said in the documentary, if I said one story, I would have been normal. So I had to make 10,000 stories up to the thing. I was crazy. He knew what he was doing. The judge in the Robert DeFeo case still sits, and he was speaking on this documentary. And the judge said, after the murders, Mr. DeFeo killed him with a lever-action rifle. After the murders, he used a lever-action rifle. He picked up every single cartridge casing and threw it away. Not in the garbage in the kitchen, he threw it away. He threw it like in the friggin' sewer, away from the house. He threw the rifle away from the house. He got in the shower, cleaned every square inch of his body, toweled off, threw the towels in the garbage. He did that to hide the evidence. He knew what he was doing was wrong, and the judge said it. And a lot of guys try to plead insanity. Well, they're crazy, they're nuts, they're off the wall, but at the time they committed the crime, they knew it was wrong to do it because they try to hide the evidence from police. And the professor I had for this class was the prosecutor and now she's a defense attorney. Happens often. She's had clients that were temporarily insane. And she would tell the judge, Your Honor, my client is temporarily insane. And the judge would call in a forensic psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist would say, you know what, Your Honor, he is insane. Hold on a minute, I got this. Check my time. 12 minutes, okay. So the psychiatrist would tell the judge, Your Honor, the person is insane. Okay, put him in a mental institution, give him medication, give him counseling. Once he is cured, put him back on trial. Now he's no longer insane, he knows what he's doing now. Put him back on trial. I'm going to pause and I'm going to start again because I don't want it to run over.